Hello and welcome to this latest video within which we're going to be carrying on our look at Blender in our Creating Digital Animations unit of work. Before we start, I'd like to look at the three questions that are shown on your screen. Number one, what does the term material mean? Number two, what does the term texture then mean? And number three, what materials and textures might we need when creating a modern computer game? Pause the video and have a go at answering those three questions in full sentences in your book. So you've hopefully had a chance to have a look through those three questions. Materials and textures are two things that seem fairly similar but are a little bit different when we come to import those into Blender in a minute. Number one, the term material means the matter from which something is made. So materials are things like plastic, skin and wood, for example. Textures are slightly different though. The term texture means the appearance, consistency or feel of a specific material. So plastic would have a very specific textured effect, and different types of wood might have different textures assigned to them. So one material, e.g. wood, could have a number of different textures based on whether it is sanded or planed or oak or a different variety of wood. Lots of answers for number three, so we're thinking around what materials and textures we might need within our computer game. So I've gone for we might need a wooden material to make a variety of different textures. One specific texture of wood might be needed when creating walls and floors, but a different texture of wood might be needed when we create a wooden shield. So those are your answers. Purple pen those as required. So as I said, this is our animation unit of work, and within this lesson we're going to be looking at adding materials and textures into Blender. By the end of the lesson, you will understand how to create materials within the Blender suite. We're going to understand how these materials can be used in conjunction with a light source to make our surfaces visible, and then we're going to be able to create a finished computer game character using all of the skills from the last two lessons in Blender. So Blender allows us to create a number of different materials which we can use to give objects a visible surface. We started a monkey last time and we'll need to assign a number of different materials to that monkey. We can reuse materials lots of different times, so if we did create maybe an oak wood material, we could use that material lots of different times and lots of different areas of our game or animation. I'd like to have a look at the following image, which comes from the Skyrim computer game, and think what different materials might be in place within this image. So pause the video at this point and just do a bullet pointed list. How many different materials do you think you can see within this scene? Pause the video at this point. So we've definitely got some wood within this scene. We've got the staircases, the pillars, the chairs and the table. We've got a sort of stone effect flooring, and we've got then sort of a more brick stone style fireplace. Next to the fireplace, it looks like we've got some sort of metal hanging sort of lighting device, so we might have a metal there, and certainly on the chests on the left and right hand side, while they're made of wood, it looks like they've got some metal bands around them. We've also got cloth on our tables, and potentially then also sort of a fire effect material coming out of both the candles and the fireplace. So there's a significant number of different materials that would go into making a computer game like Skyrim. So to make our materials visible, we need a light source and to be using the correct view within Blender. The light source can be anything from a small lamp to a sun, but if we don't have a light source, any material that we add won't be visible. Because Blender is three-dimensional, the position of the light source is really important. So we'll get things like shadows on our characters and on our scenes based on where the light source is. And in a moment, we're going to look at adding a material. But to do that, we'll also need to add in a light source. And you can see I've got my party monkey that we started creating last time. So I've got monkey's hat and monkey's face. Hopefully you've got a little bit more created on yours. I can check monkey from the different angles and check things like, does his hat sit nicely on his head, which I'm happy it does. So to start creating now my materials onto Monkey, I need to change my view, and I change my view up the top here. At the moment we're on viewport shading, and that allows us to see all of the aspects of Monkey from any angle, very much around sort of creating the Monkey mesh. I want to change though to the right hand setting, and that's our display render preview. Now by doing that, I'm going to be seeing Monkey taking into account my lighting source over here, and you can see therefore we get things like shadows on Monkey's face. So at the moment, if I click on my light source and I go to my lamp down here, my light is set to a point, so sort of a lamp or similar. It's set to 1000 watts of electricity, and I can move that around to light Monkey from different angles. So I'm gonna place my light at the front of Monkey so that his face is sort of illuminated. You could turn your light into a sun. That would be kind of a blinding light, however, particularly if we point the sun at Monkey. So for this lesson, I'm going to set it to a point, and that's, as I say, sort of like a lamp where it's illuminating a little bit of light from every angle. So if I view Monkey from behind, he's very much in darkness, but if I view Monkey from the front, he's lit up. You can put in more than one light source, so I can go into add light, and then I'll add another point, and again I can put that sort of over here, so this now would be a room with multiple lights. Power's set to 10 watts at the moment, so that's nowhere near enough, so I'm going to whack that up to 1000 watts or so, and there we go, Monkey's then being illuminated from multiple different angles. So I've now got sort of a room where we might have a lamp here and then a fire or something over here emitting some light as well. I'm now ready to add a material to Monkey's face, so I'm going to click on Monkey, and I'm going to go to the right hand side, and the second from bottom option says Material Properties. I'm going to click to add a new material, and the first thing I'm going to do is give my material a name, because we can reuse our materials lots of different times. So I'm going to call it Monkey Skin. You get loads and loads of different options here, far more than we'll ever look at. The one key one is going to be base color, and that allows you to select then a color for Monkey. You can select a base color and then do the lightness and the darkness of that color. So I'm aiming for sort of a brown, so I want to be selecting orange over here and then darken it to make Monkey brown. So I've now got my basic Monkey effect in there, and I'm going to do the same for the hat. So I can click on my hat, I can go to new, I can name that one hat, because I think I'll probably only use hat once. But if you wanted to use a previous material, you can click on the drop down and you'll see that we've got Monkey Skin in there. So I can quickly select a material that I've already made. Okay, so I want my party hat to be sort of a red colour, and there we go, I've added in now my basic materials. Now over time, if you were creating a really complex computer game, we'd end up with hundreds of materials in here, so it'd be really important that we were naming them effectively. I've got a couple of random ones in here, so I can click onto that one and delete that material as needed, or remove that from that effect. Okay, so we're going to jump back on now and have a look at you creating a party monkey of your own. So now that you've had that demonstration, I'd like you to create a light source to light up your party monkey. I'd then like you to create a basic material for the monkey's skin and party hat, and you can investigate some other sort of settings within the material section to give things like opacity or reflection to the monkey's surface. Pause the video at this point and give yourself 10 minutes to make your party monkey fully coloured with a number of different materials. So a fairly basic example here, one I've done very, very quickly, but that's the sort of thing that you might have created so far. So we're now going to want to look at how we can add some textures into our monkey. Materials are fine, but they are very much sort of simple colours and give quite a simple surface to whatever we assign to our monkey. We can, however, put a texture within a material, and we're going to look at sort of a fur style material in a minute with a fur texture added onto the material. So we're going to jump back into Blender now and have a look at how we can assign a texture onto a material to make our monkey a little bit more lifelike. So I can click onto monkey, and when I select material from the right hand side, I've got, as we said earlier, a range of different options. If you go next to base color, you'll see you've got this yellow circle. Now that brings us up a number of different options. Now by default, we're just setting a basic color, but there are a whole range of different textures that you can add in. We're going to go for the image texture, and that's going to allow us to upload an image onto Monkey. So the first thing that will do is remove the material that's currently in place. But I've then got the option over here to open an image. So you're going to need to jump online, and you're going to need to search for a number of different texture images. So I've searched fur texture, for example, and I've saved a couple to my desktop. I'm going to go to open, find where I saved my my files, and I've got here 2 image files. So I've got a soft brown fur and then a fur texture. I'm going to open those. It might take a couple of seconds, but it's then applying my image file onto Monkey's face. And you can see then I've got a very different sort of fur style effect that I've applied to Monkey's face. If I don't like that one, I can go over to the right hand side and remove that texture, go open and find a different one. And I can try a couple of different textures until I find one that I like for Monkey. So I'm fairly happy with that one as a texture. The issue now is that things like Monkey's eyes and mouth don't look right, so I'd need to find actual eyeballs to put in there. So I'd need to be going to add, mesh, adding in a sphere, and then looking at how I could align those to Monkey's head. I could then be looking to find an eyeball style texture and utilizing those on this sphere that I've got to create a more lifelike monkey. So remember, this is 3-dimensional. Is this fitting in all of the dimensions? Does it look right from all of the different angles? So I've now got eyeballs that are sort of half into Monkey's head, and I can utilize those along with another texture to create some eyeballs there. You could do the same for the hat. Select the yellow circle, image texture, or you could have a play around with some of these other effects. When you do that, as I say, you will need to then start thinking about creating different features for Monkey's face, particularly the eyes, but possibly then the mouth and the nose. See what textures you can find online, and then have a play around with how lifelike you can create your monkey. So now that you've had a quick watch of that demonstration, pause the video. I'd like you to import a number of textures onto materials, including the monkey's face and hat. Once you assign the fur to the face, it won't look super realistic, so you're also going to need to create things like the eyes and perhaps even the mouth, and see if you can assign some textures to those things to make our monkey fairly lifelike. I'd like you then to consider which material should be basic, maybe the hat for example, and should just have a basic colour, and which of those will need a texture to provide the best overall appearance for your character. Pause the video at this point and give yourself 15 minutes to attempt to finish your party monkey. So my monkey was created quite quickly and is fairly terrifying. Hopefully your example is significantly better than this one, but you'll see that I've created a fur texture for Monkey's face, and I've then added 2 eyeballs and added an eyeball texture that I found online in for the eyes. It'd definitely be beneficial if I could have added a mouth onto this one and maybe a nose. So as I say, hopefully yours is significantly more advanced than this one. So as our final challenge for today, you can create floors and walls using the cube shape, so add mesh cube, and then extending those to become very, very wide rectangles. You can therefore add a floor and walls going around your monkey. I'd like you then to apply some textures to those cubes, and you could go for wooden effects to create sort of floors and walls, or go for some sort of sky around the outside if you want to. You could now work to complete a room within which your monkey is standing using all of the skills that you've learnt so far today. So pause the video and you've got the rest of today's lesson to create a scene that goes around your monkey, e.g. a floor and a couple of walls. Pause the video at this point. So hopefully you've now had a chance to complete the 3 objectives for today's lesson. You hopefully understand how we can create materials within Blender. You understand how these materials can be used in conjunction with a light source to create visible surfaces, and then you've used some textures to create a finished computer game character. If you haven't, please feel free to go back and watch the parts of the video that you need to again. Other than that, please do post any questions into the comments section below, and thank you very much for watching.